Okay, so in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how I prepare a third-party digital file for import into Vcarve, and then how I import it. So I'm in Vcarve right now. I have basically a new file. So I went into Job Setup. I set it up for a width of 5.5. I have a height of 11, that's the size of the board. And if you notice that the orientation is portrait, vertical, and then the thickness of the wood is going to be 0.75, I'm using inches. And then the zero, or the Z0 position, I use the material surface, so that's going to show up later when we actually do this out in the shop, and I show where I use the router bit. And then the XY datum position, I didn't know what any of this stuff meant, a couple years ago when I first started doing this, but anyhow, you learn. So I always use the center, and the reason I use the center is that because no matter, even if I get this board out of alignment on the bed, the CNC bed, it doesn't make any difference because everything is oriented from the center, including the guides that are going to go in there later. The rest of this I really don't know what it means, so I'm going to say okay on that. And basically this is my blank screen. This is what I've got for layout, and then I'm going to jump over now to the third-party file, which is the drawings. So this is the template, and the template is done in 2D, and even though it's going to be printed in it's going to be a 3D board, a 3/4 inch thick board, it's much easier to me to just start it and continue using it as a 2D board. You're going to see that come into play in other areas. I think you may have already seen or will see how I take that TD or 2D template, I place it, because it's in transparent, it's a transparent, I can look over, I can place that 2D template over the top of boards at different locations and see make sure that everything is going to fit. So let's just go back to where I just was, which is at the template itself. So really, those are the things that you need to do, that I need to do in the third-party software. This happens to be SketchUp. It may or may not be the same in Fusion 360 or whatever else someone is using. But so, and then again, the other thing that I need to do, I have to prepare this to save. So again, I saved it. I'm going to put the orientation in vertical position, which exactly matches the vertical position that's going to be used later. The other thing I did, if I zoom out right now, I'm zooming out to the entire whole thing, and I'm not seeing anything else out there. If I do, then that'll become an issue when I import it into Vcarve. If there's another area over here with some boards or something like that, those are going to show up in Vcarve. I don't want that to happen. So I did a save. I use scenes, and so it automatically goes to this, and there's nothing else out there. You don't have to be concerned about the dimensions on there, or if you made some notes, like if you said use pink or something like that, whatever, none of those are going to show up in Vcarve itself. But what is important is that when I do save the file, so I'm going to do on file, I'm going to do a save as. What I do need to do is go down here, because Vcarve will not import a file that is in the more recent versions, at least the version that I have of Desktop Pro, Vcarve Desktop Pro, it will not import a 2020, which is the default for this particular SketchUp version. It won't even import a 2019 or 2018. It'll only import SketchUp 2017, possibly newer, right? So that I'm changing, so it saves that. And then I usually make a notation on here that it's like CNC. It just kind of reminds me that's in 2017 version. I do a save. Now that file is out there in a 2017 version. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to this import vectors icon, click on that. It's going to show me what's out there, and I just want to make sure I find that file. And you can see it's right here. That's that one that had the CNC at the end of it. It's showing SketchUp Pro 2022, but it actually was saved in a 2017 version. So I'm going to click on that and say open. It takes a few seconds to open it, and then again I would recommend that you look at this, maybe even put the video on pause. Just take a look at these settings. Again, this was trial and error. A lot of them I don't even know what they mean. And so, but through trial and error, I was able to get that set up. all set to go. This is what I'm importing. I say OK. Now this is the way it always comes in. Again, I don't know why. There's probably a fix, but I don't know what that immediate fix is permanent. So what instead I did realize through a hack that if I go to this one, Align Selected Objects. Now again, these are all selected. They're all dotted purple. And so if I do Align Selected Objects, then it asks me, you know, what do you want to align to? And I go to the center one up here. I click on that and you can see it put everything exactly in there. Remember the raw board was 5.5 by 11. This one is 5. The frame is 5.5 by 11 in Vcarve. So then everything will just come in exactly the way I want it. And I click close on that. Now again, everything is all selected, so that would not be a good thing to start your tool paths. But so I'll cover tool paths and setting up the tool paths in a separate video. But that's basically all I do to prepare for and then import a third-party file to bring it into Vcarve. And again, we'll do a save on this so that I've got the file, and then we'll also then cover, and again, a separate video, how to start creating the toolpaths.